What's good, everybody? This is TKC, and no intro fluff today. We're diving headfirst into why Roger Federer was so dominant he made an entire era look like it was made of papier mache. This isn't just a tennis documentary. It's about how one man, armed with nothing but a Wilson racket and the footwork of a ballerina, turned prime-time tennis into a Federer highlight reel. You don't win 20 Grand Slams, 6 ATP finals, and hold number one in the world for 310 weeks by accident. No, sir. This was crafted greatness. Let's not forget the 103 ATP titles, the second most in history. That includes 28 ATP Master 1000s and 20 ATP 500 titles. He won the Indian Wells 5 times, Dubai 8 times, Halle 10 times, Basel 10 times. That's not domination, that's ownership. Before the Golden Boy era, tennis was a hard-hitting slugfest, with serve and volleys and power baseline players dominating whatever court suited them the best. Then came this Swiss kid with a ponytail, taking out Pete Sampras at Wimbledon 2001 like it was a casual Sunday. You know you're not normal when your breakthrough is ending the reign of a 7-time champion. Federer didn't just arrive, he airdropped himself to history. From 2004 to 2009, Federer wasn't just the best. He was tennis. This wasn't just about winning, it was about how he won. There was a rare elegance to it all. Every serve, every rally, every drop shot felt like a brush stroke on a canvas. He was dominating while gliding, powering through slams with a ballet-like grace. This was the Federer golden stretch. 15 slam finals, 11 Grand Slam titles, year-end number one 4 straight years, 5 consecutive Wimbledon and US Open titles. He owned the tour. And yet, through all the success, there was never arrogance, just class. The iconic blazer walk at Wimbledon, the humility in pressers, the quiet confidence. It was Federer being Federer. The man played like a virtuoso and carried himself like royalty. He didn't just rise the bar, he was the bar. From 2004 to 2007, Federer didn't just dominate, he controlled tennis like it was a single-player game mode. 11 slams in 4 years, 3 out of 4 slams in calendar years 3 times. And those finals, routinely against players who played the match of their life just to win a set. Now people say, was the era weak? No, it just looked weak because Federer was that far ahead. The illusion of a weak era. Let's talk about it. The so-called Federer era or weak era featured prime Leighton Hewitt, Andy Roddick, Safin, Nalbandian, also Agassi's second wind, the early rise of Nadal. And these guys weren't just pushovers, they were Grand Slam winners, Masters champions and Davis Cup legends. Hewitt was a former world number 1 with relentless grit. Roddick had one of the fastest serves in the game. Safin on his day could blast anyone off court. And Nalbandian was a genius tactician. And Agassi, a legend playing deep into his 30s. Yet none of them could consistently stop Roger on grass or hard courts. He neutralized them. He broke them down technically and mentally. You think that's weakness? That's dominance. Federer made it look weak, not because the era lacked talent, but because he made it look easy. His movement was a felt bliss. The game looked unbothered. He pulled off under the electric shot, feathered backhand slices like a painter with a brush, and dismantled opponents with calm efficiency. He looked like he was barely sweating, while his rivals were gasping for air. When someone is winning everything, it makes the rest look irrelevant. That's not their fault, it's his brilliance. And that's what happens when you're so good that you become the standard. Even when Rafa started terrorizing clay and Novak rose like a storm, Federer stayed in the conversation. In fact, he extended his prime just to duel with them. Most careers fade at 30. Federer still hitting Grand Slam finals at 38. And in 2017, won Wimbledon without dropping a set. Let's be real, it took Federer getting older for the others to finally catch up. By the time Rafa and Novak were hitting their strides, Federer was already deep into his 30s. And yet, he still found his second wind. 2012 Wimbledon champion, 2017 Australian Open and Wimbledon champion, not to forget the Sunshine Double. 2018 world number 1 again and a 20th Grand Slam in the Australian Open. And 2019, he was still there, reaching the Wimbledon final and holding 2 championship points against Novak Djokovic. in what is arguably the greatest final in tennis history. I know, we don't talk about that game. At nearly 38 years old, Federer was still pushing the limits of the sport. And let's not forget, he even beat Nadal for good measure, on grass, on hard courts, in slam finals. Federer held his own and more. In 2017, the Australian Open final, a 5-set masterclass where Roger rolled back the years and took down Rafa with that backhand firing like a cannon. It was poetic revenge and vintage Federer. Now, on to his legacy. He wasn't the most physical. He didn't have the crushing powers of modern players. But he had the aura. He made it look poetic. The forehand whip, the serve precision, the backhand slice that made you feel like you're watching art. He changed what greatness looked like. He became bigger than the game. The headband, the RF logo, the walk, the elegance. It all became iconic. Federer wasn't just a tennis player. He was a king in a kingdom of his own making. Center court was his palace, and we were all lucky to witness his reign. When Federer played, the world watched. Tennis fan or not, that's how magnetic he was. He brought glamour, gravitas, and genius to the sport. And let's be honest, he wasn't just better. He was so much better, it didn't feel fair at times. He was the gold standard. He still is. And no matter how many stats the next generation racks up, for many, he will always be king. It's almost laughable, isn't it? Federer might be the only athlete in history whose dominance is somehow used against him. No one questions Tiger Woods' era, or no one says Usain Bolt had it easy. But when it's Federer, suddenly the entire field was apparently on a tea break. In the end, Federer was so smooth, so complete, and so dominant, people convinced themselves that the competition was the problem. It wasn't. He was just that good. I'm TKC, and this is Waffle Innit. Thank you, and until next time.